Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 118 of the Toonami Escape podcast. I'm Greg Zeno. Tonight we have B-Dubs
Hello.
buried deep in a Fire Emblem wiki.
I am way obsessed with how they calculate damage in this game right now.
If only it. This is now. I'm very mad that we didn't have Seda on because this would be a 35-minute
Oh,
absolute.
absolutely.
Just sit here for 35 minutes and listen to B-Dubs and Seda talk about Fire Emblem damage equations.
Oh, they're just amazingly complicated. Like you wouldn't think they'd be complicated, but god damn it, they are.
Sada's sitting here listening to this, being like, "God damn it, I missed this."
Yeah, he's probably annoyed.
C. Kohler, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Praxis, how was Paris and Greece?
Oh, it was wonderful. And while I was there, guess what? I also got a brand new job. I'm now the lead animator of Black Clover, and I've never taken a day of art school in my life.
Great, you'll fit right in.
That sounds about right. Like, I am not shocked at all at this news. You'll probably do a better job.
So a few housekeeping notes before we get started. No episode next week because this week is a Labor Day marathon of the entire first season of My Hero Academia.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
I completely forgot about that.
You can sleep. You can go to sleep early next week.
Or if you like
Awesome.
My Hero Academia like me, you can just stand for it for the entire.
I've realized that there is absolutely nothing they could possibly show that would get me to watch a marathon.
JoJo's marathon.
I didn't even. I think they did a JoJo marathon, and I didn't even watch that.
I watched the part 2 marathon, but that was about it. Only because I really like part 2.
I just can't. No matter what it is, if I've just seen it, and especially since I have just seen it recently,
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay up like. Well, let's stay up until 3:30 in the morning on a weekend night to watch this thing I just watched.
There's a part like I can see why they did My Hero Academia, but there's like a deep part of me like we have had several shows end recently that would be perfect for marathoning. We had JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3. We had some major arcs ending, but My Hero Academia, I mean, it's fun to block, and they haven't. It's going to be its first marathon, so
You can
It's
get that
also
whole thing in there.
exactly. It's like exactly the right number of episodes too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they once did a whole run of One Punch Man.
and
think
I
so.
mean, I think the next marathon's already locked in for them. It's going to be fully coolly alternative and progressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if
Yep.
Alternative should end before Thanksgiving, right? It's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. No. Might be cutting it. Let me see.
It'll definitely make Christmas.
1, 2, 3, 4.
But you're right. Like they can totally make that into an
No.
easy marathon.
Oh, yeah, they can. They absolutely will. It absolutely. It ends on the. Wait, shit. No. Of course it ends before that. I'm like a month ahead. I'm thinking we're about to start October. Fuck you,
No, no.
September.
No, we haven't even done September yet. What the hell?
Screw you, September. Sorry, Spider-Man.
God damn it! I want Spider-Man.
I also want Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Get me Spider-Man.
September 14th is going to be crazy on Netflix too. There's a bunch of like anime
Oh,
and TV shows. BoJack
Yeah.
Horseman's coming back. All this
The next season of Iron Fist is coming, and that actually looks decent. Like they know what it. I mean, it looks like they know what it wants to be at this point, which
I
is
really stopped
the
keeping
huge.
up with Marvel. Marvel
Yeah, I know, but
stuff.
it's I can't help myself.
I mean, BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, I mean, BoJack Horseman.
Anyway, there will absolutely be at least once, maybe even multiple times this year, a marathon of just fully progressive and alternative back to back.
Mhm.
Like, why wouldn't you? And other brief notes. Trying to remember. There's nothing.
Well,
Nope.
they did show a trailer for the My Hero Academia theatrical movie that's coming out.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
And yeah, that's coming out nationwide, dubbed and subbed, September 25th. And it's actually, I think one of the cool things is the movie's technically canon because it
Except
takes
there's
place.
no possible place to put it in that makes sense.
There
Kind
is.
of like how, like Z and Film Z and Strong World and Gold are probably all like, oh yeah, they're canon, except they can't be.
Yeah.
It's impossible that these events happened.
Well, from what I understand, it takes place between seasons 2 and 3 when there's a breaking point.
The
And
difference is, though, that from what I've heard, is that this movie is actually written by Hirokoshi, whereas like Film Z, for example, Oda didn't write that. He just came up with the character designs.
Right.
but Film Gold, I think, didn't Oda have a big part in Film Gold?
I don't think I don't think he wrote it.
I
just
think he has
came up with.
broad oversight, which is
Yeah.
why he takes a lot more breaks around the time the movies are being made.
Because
Yeah,
Film
he
Gold
acts
was
like
quite
an.
good.
He's
I think
had
he
more
acts as-
hands into, like, especially Film Gold. He had more to do with it, but he again, I don't think he didn't write the story for it.
No,
don't
I
think.
think I think he was acting like an executive producer and sort of vetoing things or making sure it stayed on track.
But I have very high hopes of it being decent, at least, unlike the DBZ's very spotty track record with movies until lately.
Yeah.
I think well, I haven't heard much about the Broly movie, of course, but I think the the only really standout movie is actually Battle of the Gods.
Yeah, I think people love Battle of the Gods, and then like Resurrection of Z of F is like there.
Mm-hmm.
It exists.
Yep.
Anyway, that's about it for news. Let's get into the block with My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia episode 16 in their own quirky ways. In this episode, they continue on the obstacle course. And they have to deal with that one part from the Hunter exam.
Wait, what part?
The part where they had to hang on to the spider web to grab the eggs, and a bunch of people fell to their deaths and died. Because let me tell you, I could not see the bottom there. I don't know how this was safe.
We're not going to mention how like there were several episodes, like for the first half of the episode this week, that had just amazing animation out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this one was no exception. Like when Todoroki throws all those giant robots, all of it's just like, okay, animation storm.
Well, that was a recap part. That was from last week.
I think there's another point though. I remember the trees flying everywhere when they're taking out the robots.
I mean, again, I think it goes without saying, but like this episode really looked great overall. And while it didn't have like a moment that I remember as flashy as like the Todoroki freezing the robot scene from the previous episode, it had lots of good animation and just like little things, like the way certain characters reacted and moved to things. Like I just remember shots of like the pink slime girl, like the way she was surprised by something and she was just so animated in how she moved.
Oh yeah, from here on out, Bones brings their A game to this series.
Yeah, it's like every character looks like they're super on model. Everybody looks just right. The camera angles are way more interesting than they've been before, and everyone is much more animated in general.
Yeah, if you were, I didn't get to talk about this because I wasn't here last week, but this is the reason a lot of people kept on bitching about the first season. Which, I mean, for the standard anime we watch on Toonami, it's like it's competence, but it's like it can be so much better, especially considering how much the author dedicates his art into the material, which I'll probably get to down the line when we cover some major fights in My Hero Academia, which art wise and paneling wise, Hirokoshi does a lot of good work with the manga, and it's nice to see that effort placed equally in anime on that. And
some arcs though, it is the manga is just like sometimes one arc, the Yakuza arc though, it's just like I can't see shit. I can't tell what's happening.
And I know there was one recent chapter where things went kind of how can I put this, Hunter x Hunter for a bit, but I mean that just comes down to stress placed on Shonen Jump manga authors sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think especially the Yakuza arc, I remember there was a lot of advertising for the next season of My Hero Academia. It's like, well, I know the author's going to be busy, so I think there's still some great shots in that arc and great art. But there's always points where, like, if you track like what's going on that week to week, you can actually explain why some of the art looks off or some of the things look off in manga chapters. The only exception being, of course, there's a reason they call him Goda, is One Piece.
Yeah.
But even in One Piece, he was literally working himself to death, and he now has to take breaks every 4 weeks just to save his life.
Yeah, no, Jump mandated like a week off every month because he gets like 4 hours of sleep.
I mean, he's practically a national treasure at this point, so he has to do this.
Yeah, I mean, they would.
Will the flags be lowered to half staff on the day he dies?
Are you kidding me?
They're
that
taking
country
those
will
flags
shut down.
They're taking those flags down entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid it happens.
In place of the Japan flag.
I mean, I'm not kidding when I say he's a national treasure. I mean, he literally is.
I mean, I remember when the big moment in the Paramount War happened. Like that, the spoilers made the news. Like when, I mean, I'll just say it. Like Ace and Whitebeard died. Like that was literally nightly newscast got like their version of like Brian Williams was on Japanese TV. Like there's One Piece spoilers ahead, so if you don't want to know, just mute it.
Kills Dumbledore.
Yeah, it was that times like a bajillion.
Anyway,
so anyway.
Like they literally built the graves for Ace and Whitebeard in Japan. They weren't even real
stuff.
Yeah, I know, but they weren't even real people.
Anyway, going back to the giant hunter exam pit of death, we get introduced to this one support course girl who is really into her babies.
Yep,
I like her already.
Meet second best girl.
She's like, I don't know what it is, but I like these sort of like crazy scientist characters, and she's just like, you can tell.
Yeah, she's a funny character. She of course she shows off. So she's from the support course, which is I think a really cool addition because naturally this is what I think a lot of people first expected Deku to kind of be when My Hero kind of Batman-ish, and they are literally like they make these inventions, and that's how they do that, either augment their quirks or if they're quirkless, and it works with them.
So like the gauntlets that Bakugo has was designed by some former support group engineer probably.
And the laser beam guy.
His like belt buckle thing.
Yeah, and I also liked. I must not. My brother must be watching this. I must not look foolish. And he immediately he goes does this dorky little balancing act on the
Mike's just like, wow, that's so lame.
There's a lot of quiet, funny Ida moments in this. Like at the very end of the race, he's like, "What happened? I'm super speedy. My brother's watching." And it's one of those little jokes that kind of goes unnoticed.
Ida has a lot of great background jokes. Anyway, the third obstacle is try not to step on the mines and have your leg blown off.
And this is when we get to my favorite point, where
seems a little dark.
Everybody complains about Deku crying in the first season, and now it's like, okay, Madman Deku time. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna blow the hell out of myself.
Season 1 Deku, I can't step on mines, I can't do it. Season 2 Deku, give me more mines.
Just, I got a shield, it should hold up.
Somebody in the
want a bigger explosion.
Somebody in the thread posted that GIF of like Link from the old Zelda cartoon, like surfing on explosions on bombs. You know.
And I like how he doesn't even make it past the minefield. He's like, you know what? More explosions.
He even like what was it? He did something to like actually stop Bakugo and Toradoki or whatever those two guys.
So when he makes the second jump, he starts flipping around and gets on their shoulders and uses the momentum of the robot shield part he was carrying around to slam and trigger just a bunch more mines and continue his momentum. And it doubles as those mines going off double as push Bakugo and Todoroki back to a point where they can't catch up, because Todoroki at that point was freezing the field to actually get past the mines where they wouldn't trigger.
Right.
Bakugo, of course, could have flown right past it if he wasn't trying to take out Todoroki.
Yeah. We also got like a really good like look at a bunch of the Class 1B characters.
Such as awesome cool name Tetsu.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
It's one of my favorite running jokes. Is they have his power, he can make his body steel, and Kirishima's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, Kirishima was already like, my power's lame, and then this dude has the exact same thing.
I just want to say too that like I love the character designs. Like I know it's kind of it surprises me that in a world where everyone has got crazy superpowers and they all look really ought to look really interesting. There's so many like interesting and unique looking characters that just keep showing up like this girl with like giant horns, and then a guy whose head is literally a speech bubble, and
that guy is the best, and we've never even heard. We don't even know his name.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And then there's that character's name. Don't even know if
Anyway,
it's not really a spoiler, but I think we might be learning that character's name coming up.
Okay,
yeah, it might be soon.
And then there's like a guy who I can only describe as having the face of like a Titan from Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
He's got like big teeth, and yeah, there's just so many cool looking characters. I mean, I really want to applaud the author for being this creative.
There's one dude, that one dude from Class B who looks like he's like a suit of armor.
I also like for the business class, he could have just drawn anyone, but there's like a guy with a beehive hairdo. And
oh yeah, the business class. They sit around and are like, haha, business.
Well, like, it's not just business though. I mean, they talk about advertising and kind of marketing heroes, which if you're trying to become a #1 hero and like based on your popularity, that's how much money you get from the government. It kind of makes sense to actually have a whole business class dedicated to, oh, this hero's very marketable, flashy. We should probably get behind them. It kind of makes sense in context.
Right, Eraserhead? Huh?
Shut up. I'm too busy being in bandages.
Anyway, some other dudes make it through, like the Grapist, 2 is the worst. He's the worst. Screw him.
We're going to have to suffer with this guy for the rest of the series, I'm pretty sure. So
no, he's going to die.
You get varying. I think this going forward, you get varying amounts of him. So you'll be at points where like and then there's the points where he's just not even in the picture. So
he just sticky balls himself to Momo, and it's just like, you didn't even do anything. You fuck.
And almost everyone from Class 1A makes it through. I think a bunch from Class 1B make it through.
I think all of the Class 1A and 1B dudes make it through.
I know, because 42 people make it, and I know for a fact all 20 of Class 1A make it through.
I would have to go back and look at the splash screen to see and compare it to the recent splash screen of B, but I'm pretty sure they all make it. Like they should. They're the hero course people.
And of course Deco gets in first place for the merit that the triathlon, and his reward, he's screwed.
Yeah, if they take him out, apparently they get 1 million points.
10 million points.
10
1
million.
million points.
It doesn't. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of, because like it just kind of like he has an inherent advantage in the cavalry battle and disadvantage because he's the #1 target. But if he just holds on to the 10 million points, of course, it doesn't matter if
he's guaranteed to go through.
Yeah, you can just do keep away, or you can just try is he can try and be a little bit more aggressive and try and take out more people. But we'll see. The cavalry battle is going to be it's going to be a lot of strategy to try and find the perfect team for being with a big target over his head. And I'm not sure.
I wonder who the perfect member of the team could be. Anyway,
couldn't pick anyone out.
Couldn't predict it. Anyway, let's talk about Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super episode 77. Let's do it, Grand Zeno, the universe's best tournament. And also known as, like, Always Sunny in Philadelphia title screen, Goku kills trillions.
I love this episode just because Goku, they retcon it later, but Goku really does just commit mass genocide in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for all we know, this is literally all Goku's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating because everyone else in the show knows this, and he's just too stupid. Oh, you mean if there's a tournament, a universe will die? Yeah, of course. What did you? What happened in the last freaking tournament, you dumbass?
I'm Beerus, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what's going to happen for some reason.
Well, I mean, he shouldn't be shocked.
Goku is very, very dumb.
Yeah, well, that's his own damn fault.
He got off way too easy. I think honestly, Beerus should have destroyed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, but for what he did, yes.
I mean, like I said, it looks so bad after this episode. They actually retcon it later. Say, oh, I mean, he was planning to destroy these universes anyway, so this actually gives the universe a chance to save a universe. It's like, oh, thank goodness.
That doesn't excuse his stupidity, though. He's still a dumb moron.
Yeah.
Should have seen, just use half your brain, dude.
Does he have half a brain at this point? He's been punched so much.
I will say this, though. He did start out the episode actually working.
I'm shocked.
Which was the most shocking thing of all to me. That he actually, had apparently planted crops and was selling them. And
Listen, I'm about this one bandit's amazing plan to rob this dude who just lifted up his truck with one hand.
Oh, yeah.
This dude's plan is to rob this dude who just lifted up his truck with a single hand.
It just reminds me of that Perry Bible Fellowship where it's like, and then the mean old farmers scared away all those rabbits. And then it just shows the farmer in the next panel crying as the rabbit's stealing all his food. And I just imagine this robber's like, I just want something to eat. And he's starving in the forest.
I have 3 kids. But no, Goku, we were wondering, could Goku Superman a bullet? Turns out, not really.
I mean, if he's focusing.
But he wasn't.
I mean, it goes back to that
whole
Krillin thing where he's in Super Saiyan form. And Krillin's like, I wonder if he can dodge this rock. And he's like, ow, that fucking hurts.
You mean the Super Saiyan aura doesn't just vaporize the rock when it gets close?
Nope.
Huh. Sounds like that should be a thing.
Probably.
Or that or power levels of bullshit.
Anyway, so Goku is like, let's train. And then he ends up in the Zeno Palace and he's like, let's have a tournament. And the Zenos are like, cool, it's going to kill everyone.
Oops.
I made a huge, tiny mistake.
I may have committed some light universe destruction.
I may have committed some light genocide.
I really like the voice of Zeno.
It's fun.
It's just so hateable.
No, I don't actually. No, I don't even hate it. It's just so he's just such a. I don't know how to explain it. He's just so innocent. And he's likable. He's likable, even though I don't know. I can't explain it. He just sounds really like the performance is really good.
I remember the Japanese performance. It's basically just a little kid playing. Both the Xenos, and it's. I think childlike is the best way to kind of go about that type of characters because they just have such immense power. They literally are. I mean, we've had. I know they in Phil Z and stuff. They kept on going higher and higher on the Kais. Like, this is the Supreme Kai. And then eventually you just get the Xenos like, fuck it, this guy's just straight up God.
The Xenos are just like, fuck everything, Kai. Anyway, that's the episode. Goku kills a bunch of people. Soon. But there was a new opening, finally.
Oh, yeah.
And because it was wished for on a monkey's paw, it's dubbed.
Damn it.
What's it? I'm sorry, I keep on forgetting the name of the opening.
I also forget.
I think it's
Go Fight.
Yeah.
Who knows? Some bullshit like that.
Anyway, it's pretty good. You guys were really hyping it up a bit too much. I liked it, but it wasn't
it's better when it's not dubbed.
It was all right. I mean, I actually liked it a lot, but I just didn't like it as much as I was being led. I would say though, it was pretty funny to me though. Like at the last verse of the song, they actually say Dragon Ball Super in the song.
Yeah. That and they even say like, I just want to impress Grand Zeno and blow them all away.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Now I'm getting freaking Avengers flashbacks. Just Goku, I don't feel so good.
But it was pretty cool, like showing off lots of new characters. Obviously, going to be in this big tournament, and
oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of. I'm looking forward to everybody seeing like all the different universes and stuff. It's probably it's going to be. I mean, they as far as building up the tournament, they do a good job about it. The big thing to look forward to though in this arc is the soundtrack improves immensely. Like there's a really good soundtrack, and I hope they don't dub a certain song later on. But
yeah, I just can't wait until everyone on this podcast has to remember like literally 100 characters.
One other thing to note too. I think going forward, you can kind of break Dragon Ball Super into chunks. There's of course the production collapse of the first season, and then we get to the competent arcs, whereas like normal Toei production usually expect. But then you get to the latest arcs, which is kind of like current Toei running, where I think they finally kind of got a system down for working a lot of the weekly shows. And the production more or less is much improved, and that's the tournament power arc we're getting into.
Yeah.
Well, as a arc based entirely around fighting, it better have some good animation.
And there's good animation breakdowns on YouTube of the entire tournament power, which it's when you're watching the episodes, if you want a little bit more extra information, especially on the animators, it's good to check out and see like this is where they cut the corners, but to make it look good, especially for the really good looking episodes and when they get to star animators and directors and what to look forward to. So it's a nice little insight into the anime production of the show, and it also teaches you like, oh, this animator's on this episode. This is expect some good animation here.
Anyway, speaking of good animation, Attack on Titan episode 39, Pain with an E.
Oh God.
My pain is greater than yours.
Now let me pull up Looney Tunes on your ass.
No, this episode starts off with a chase sequence that looks balls out.
Yeah, the first half of this episode is pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching, it's like, oh wow, this is tense as hell.
It's like, camera, hold on, camera, please, stop it. Camera, holy shit.
Yeah, it looked amazing. I mean, it's obvious that a whole group of people were super skilled in putting in all that talent. It looked so good. This all has looked good. I mean, it's easy to point out this scene as being like, oh my gosh, it's eye-meltingly good looking. But like, just even the mundane things are well animated in this season. It just looks good.
Kenny bursting through the doors of the saloon.
Oh,
yeah.
God. It's high noon.
It's high noon.
High noon.
God. One day I will have cause to burst through the doors of a saloon like that. In our inevitable nuclear wasteland future where everything is kind of like a Fallout cowboy universe, that will be me.
Yes.
But yeah, the first half is really just the Levi show. I mean, the other characters are there, but they're like, oh wait, there goes Aaron and Astoria. I better chase after him.
They get captured in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I
like that happened, though. I mean, I'm curious to see what's going to happen now, because it felt to me like they were going to get rescued, but then they didn't.
I thought they did get rescued until they were like, oh, I guess they didn't.
Can Aaron just go 2 days without being captured?
This to me, honestly, though, this episode's all about Armin. It's
the
like
second half is definitely about Armin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about like him, because he's always been kind of the mousy of the 3 characters. He's more mental, and he obviously is. I don't want to say cowardly, but he just doesn't have much courage.
But underneath, there's always been this like thing where he would suddenly shift into just complete brutal mode.
Yeah,
like remember last season where he was like tried to get into Bertholdt's head by being like, the horrible things they're doing to Annie.
Right.
Man, it makes my skin crawl.
But basically, he just sort of in this episode just came face to face with having to kill someone for the first time ever.
He shot someone right in the back.
Yeah, and that kind of broke him for the rest of the episode. And then on top of that, he's suffering while Hanj and Levi are torturing this guy to get information. And of course, Armin can hear this in the other room, and he's just can't deal with it. And it was super captivating, great storytelling, very intense. I also want to mention too, I loved how they had that plan to trick the guy they were torturing by having the other guy read a script just outside his door, and he couldn't see that. That was so smart.
And then they walk in and it's like, well, time to get to more torturing. And he's just like, the Rice is the true royal family.
Yeah. He just like immediately gave up.
I love Levi's also speech to Armin, which is like the worst prep talk ever. Like, of course you have blood on your hands. You killed her in cold. You killed him in cold blood. Good talk.
Yeah. He was basically like, somebody was in that conversation was just like, I forget what they said. They were something like, well, at least sounds like where you're, what's right or wrong. And then Levi's like, I have no idea what's right or wrong. My moral compass is completely broken.
I'm like, damn. Shit.
And then the grittiest episode of Spice and Wolf happens. Like, we're merchants. We have to merchant stuff.
Let's talk. Also, I wanted to briefly say, Hanji just loves bursting through doors dramatically in this episode.
Oh yeah,
I think
at least 3 times she's just like, I'm here.
She's great. I do have a question though. I cannot remember who this Irwin guy is.
Commander Irwin?
Yeah.
The commander of the Scouts?
I just don't remember him.
Last season, in the last episode, he was like, let's go! And then he got his fucking arm bitten off, and he was still like, fucking go!
But like, where did he come from? Like, when did he show up in this? Was he in the first season?
Yes.
He was a big
He's
part
the boss
of capturing
man.
Annie, yeah.
I mean, his design isn't that remarkable, but geez.
I know. I really. I mean, I knew this would be your reaction.
Like, you're probably seeing him in like not the scout uniform for the first time, and you're like, oh, it's a random blonde dude.
Yeah, I just don't recognize him. I just don't remember him like being a big part of the story before. I guess I just couldn't put it together.
There's a lot of fucking characters in Attack on Titan, and having a political plot just jumping into that It's just gonna make this whole thing go like get tenfold worse for
In
a
the manga,
while.
it's like, I can't tell if that's John or Aaron.
I can't.
Is that Sasha or Mikasa? I can't tell. I think the hair. Anyway, yeah, remember that one from all the way back in season 1 where this one asshole merchant was like, no, I've got to get my things through this gate, and then Mikasa's just like, I will fucking cut you.
Yeah. I like that. That was a
He's
good
back,
use
and apparently he's kind of a good guy now.
Yeah, it's kind of like a good use of like a otherwise throwaway character.
Mm-hmm.
He's in half this episode and then gets his throat slit immediately. Good merchant instincts there, bro.
He has a nose for merchanting.
Merchanting.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Sun watched it all.
He has a nose for future gains. It just didn't have to necessarily be his future gains.
Yep.
Anyways, Kenny walks off from slitting this guy's throat, and he's like, Levi Ackerman. And you're like, wait.
I just find it funny that his name's Kenny too. Like I'm about to cry, Kenny.
I was thinking about this.
They killed Kenny.
I was thinking about this the other day. I remember I was going to say this on the podcast too, but I wanted to phrase it in the right way because I didn't want to sound demeaning. But like, so much anime that you watch, is about Japanese characters, and so they often have like difficult to remember names, like especially in My Hero Academia. Like there's so many great characters on that show and so many names I cannot remember. Like the character like with the bird head, I don't know his name. I can't remember it. It's so
no one does.
It's just a complicated Japanese name. But so I don't mind that, but it is refreshing to have a show like Attack on Titan, which also reminds me of like Full Metal Alchemist, where all the characters just have names we're familiar with, like Kenny or Levi or stuff that it's easy to remember. And so, like, I don't mind that it's Kenny because I can certainly remember his name. I can't remember when when it's a complicated Japanese name, it's just hard to remember characters' names sometimes.
I also like when they kind of shorten the names, like Izuku Midoriya just gets shortened to Deku. It's a lot easier to remember Deku or Ed
it's easier to remember It's easier to remember Grapist. It's easier to remember Froppy.
Yeah.
Ed and Al from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, English names help a lot.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, in Full Metal Alchemist, they're all basically essentially German characters, or from that area basically. And then like in here, it's just I'm not really sure what this is, but at least they all have like names that we can pronounce and remember easily. I just thought I wanted to mention that because, again, I knew somebody was going to mention the Kenny thing, and I'm just like, yeah, Kenny is kind of a goofy name, but at least it's not like Michu Moharu Kana, or something that you couldn't, like, what?
Anyway, so Kenny just casually drops this huge bomb that Levi's last name is Ackerman, and it's like, oh, come on.
Well, what's the deal?
Mikasa's last name is Ackerman.
No, I know, I get that, but what do you think the deal is? Just a coincidence, or?
No, they're definitely related.
Huh. Okay. I mean, okay, I guess.
I guess the super awesome gene runs in that family.
I don't think that actually goes anywhere.
Oh, well, I don't actually know. I'm just assuming that is like, oh, this is a huge thing, but...
It could pay off in the long run, but who knows?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, like, why not? I mean, like, how many people do you think there are in the walls? Do you think there's like 1 million people?
Mikasa was established to be a foreigner early on, so I mean, there's going to be there's going to be at some point a big backstory, probably involving both of them. And
that's true. She was just like an orphan that just showed up at their house one day, right?
No, they were friends with her parents, and then her parents got murdered.
Oh, that's right.
Then Aaron and her murdered the shit out of those guys.
And then she got her scarf, and then that became her character trait.
Yes, she's Sakura, but cool.
But I do like her interaction with Armin too, as he's just trying to kind of rationalize, like, this is how it feels to actually kill somebody. It's just like he's just trying to parse those feelings.
Again, she's like a refreshing female character because she isn't like demure or.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Okay. I mean, she's not perfect, but she's like battle hardened. Like she's not weak. She can.
I mean, it's almost basically the same as saying now female characters can also just have the single character trait of stoic as well.
I guess. I just prefer that to. I prefer that to Sakura.
Well, I mean,
I think that says. I think that's for a lot of characters. It's like when you clear that low bar.
But it's interesting. It's interesting to have this mix where you're right. Like she is comforting Armin because Armin is the guy who can't handle attacking or fighting or killing someone, and Mikasa is like, "Hey, this, let me help you out.
I will walk outside and cut 3 throats right now. I don't give a shit."
Yeah.
But I mean, I know some people kind of shit on Mikasa for obvious reasons. Her being the insert love interest in a shonen story, but I do think she had at least she has a little bit more layers to her, and she's one of the more I think notable female characters in anime. Thanks to that.
I don't know how much of a ringing endorsement that is.
I'm not going to go out on a limb for her or anything. I'm just saying that I just like the fact that she isn't playing second fiddle here. That's all I'm saying. That she's actually the stronger character of these two, and that's not a common thing you see in anime. That's all.
Anyway, shall we talk about Pop Team Epic? No? Okay.
I guess we kind of have to, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm Southern for no reason.
Pop Team Epic, Episode 9, Dancing with a Miracle. In this episode, the untold backstory of Mike Hager.
Howdy, y'all. I just like he just changes accents in between the repeats. Just for no reason.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if the part one and part the first half and the second half, if they have different voice directors.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
That and those all the strange little things. I think he was supposed to be. I forget if he spoke English in the original podcast and in the original.
He did.
Broadcast. But
So you may have noticed a bunch throughout that entire segment that there were Japanese subtitles on the screen.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, they were subtitling his English voice work from the actual original show.
Was it English or English?
It was English, I believe. It was actually delivered by an anime YouTuber.
Oh, okay, interesting.
They turn up as Ghostbusters and bust 3 goons for no reason, and
the whole segment was
on top of the Empire State. It's just kind of peeping me and Popko just doing random shit.
Well, what
Getting
it was
pushed around by Noctis and Prompto.
Yeah, the whole segment was, except for the Prompto thing, I guess. The whole segment was just look at all these American references, like the guys walking with the shoes from Back to the Future, and like you said, Ghostbusters. They're in New York City. The Alien and RoboCop show up. It's just all these American pop culture stuff. Just
when did the Alien show up?
He showed up right after RoboCop. Oh no, not the Alien. I said Alien. I meant
Predator.
The T1, the T9-800 or whatever from Terminator.
I did not even catch that.
Yeah, he showed up right after RoboCop to arm wrestle, and there's just a bunch of American references.
And I like how he just kind of he can't stick with them because they chopped up salmon or something.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
Yeah, it was. Let's just put that down to didn't get the reference.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't remember anything else from this episode.
You don't even like the latte art?
Oh, latte. Okay, yeah, latte art. Give me some latte art. Where's the latte art?
And then she's just like, okay.
And
Okay.
Greg Snow is apparently the drum solo on Bob Team Epic. It's like, I didn't tell the joke yet. I didn't tell the joke yet.
I didn't tell it yet.
And they started the episode with something called Tai Chan Body Parts, where it's just them as a heart and a hand telling jokes on a stage.
that it's inevitably it's just a terrible pun.
Yeah, this
might have been. I feel like even in the original airing, I thought this was maybe the least memorable episode.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we went back to back on kind of like these creative concepts. I always like when they do like the stuff where it's like this the original Cells when they were doing that little fantasy epic and they show up as a summon. Or of course, everyone's gonna always remember Hellshake Yano, but this is part. I mean, there's really no standout skits in this one. You're looking for that creativity, and it was just kind of this episode. There's maybe some decent jokes, but it's a shame coming after all the coming off all the kind of creativity streak they've been on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're kind of falling back into just references. Anyway, does anybody else remember anything else from this episode of Pop Team Epic? Because I sure don't.
I don't.
I just remember at the end credits of the first part, Sonic apparently just is going to be a permanent part of the show now because he.
Of course he is. Oh no! Girl drop. Next time they kiss.
They kiss.
Oh, and the memory. It's going to be a background episode too. It's when they're kids.
She goes to the place where they have memories, and then he goes there, and then they kiss.
They kiss.
We don't see the kiss though. Their lips are closing in.
So close.
They are going to become totally interrupted by somebody.
Yeah. It's gonna happen, I believe.
It's gonna be stupid. Something stupid like fireworks or the Predator attacks.
That actually does sound like a girl drop thing. The Predator attacks.
I kept expecting the girl drop stuff to go off the rails, but it honestly just has continued to be completely believable as an
really
anime.
Has.
Oh, there's gonna be a thing.
It goes nice boat, doesn't it?
No, it's.
Oh.
There's a last episode thing. Anyway, we'll get to that when we come to it. Anyway, let's talk about JoJo. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable Episode 2. Josuke Higashikata meets Angelo, the worst person in the world.
Yes.
Hey guys, do you know Angelo is a bad guy?
No, here's him eating a dog.
I'm kind of like, wait, now he's done, but that was the whole thing that was wrong, and what did they do the rest of the time?
What do you mean the whole thing that was wrong? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, he was the bad guy.
Well, I mean, come on.
Well,
clearly, he's just one of the many bad guys they will face.
Angelo was the first episode chump.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be like fucking Dio.
No,
I don't know where you got that impression.
I thought he was going to be the Dio.
Oh, okay. No, he's always struck me as just being like the first person they defeat.
Beat up.
I mean, something at
part 4.
He gets captured, but I think that's a lot of it's being saved for later.
Part 4 does not have much of a until like halfway through. It does not have really much of a through line. It is a bunch of quirky things happening in Morio.
I disagree. I feel like it. How can I put this? I'll just go straight forward. This is basically Persona 4 basically aped all this this anime. So this is basically Persona 4 the animation, except much better.
I said that last week. I haven't even seen it.
Yeah,
Angelo is basically like Araki being like, "What's the worst thing I can think of right now?" Angelo did that.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Yeah, it's like rape, murder, all this crap, and then he eats a dog and kills a guy. And it's like, okay, we get it. You're a bad guy. And the worst thing is, I was watching this with somebody else, and it's like, oh god, like I just wanted to get to the fight, but I forgot how terrible they make Angelo, and it's like, oh no,
they go straight from one of the horrifying depictions of his crime straight to crazy noisy bees our town, and it's like the new shiny.
Yep.
What do you guys think of this OP?
I really like it a lot.
I mean, I'm gonna always miss the David Pro openings, especially coming off of the end of the world.
You mean the Kamikaze Doga openings?
Yeah. But I mean, it's a nice change of pace, especially with the jump in time period. And we got also the brand new ending, which is Savage Garden, which I like, but I part of me deep inside wishes it was the Smash Mouth song.
People really wanted it to be All Star.
Yeah, because
it should have been.
Maybe we'll get Gangster's Paradise for Part 5.
Yes.
If not, we can just get Amish Paradise.
I mean, I'm sure people always upload, because I know people upload the all-star version of the ending theme. And I'm sure there'll be tons of with the new anime as well coming up. But Savage Garden, I think, is pretty good. But the thing
I've seen a lot of people being like, I hate the fact that they made people think this was good.
It is good. It's not a bad song. People getting bent out of shape over it for some reason.
I am a music snob and I hate this.
It's a fine song.
I do love the ending, because the ending theme also evolves as the series goes on, and one of my favorite things about this anime is you saw it at the very end of the episode where the narrator just kind of lists like a new monument, the Angelo Rock,
like weird town landmarks.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Is he implying that people walk by this rock all the time and they see a guy face on it?
They're not quite done with Angelo Rock yet.
Yes, they'll come back to it, and it'll make a little bit more sense. But it's these tiny little things about the town that it gives it kind of this. The town itself kind of becomes a character in itself, and
like the fact that it's clearly they just pulled a 1970s American small town out and put it in Japan wholesale.
Yeah.
There's like milkmen and everything.
And this was mentioned last week too, but I love the direction. Like the direction for the first part of the series is just stellar. The colors they use.
Let me talk a little about that too, because I totally agree. Like in this second episode, I noticed it even more. Is that this, I think, is so far been the best animated JoJo I've seen. Like,
easily.
Part 1, 2, and 3 looked. I think I even said this a long time ago that I think it was when we were doing show rankings or something, that I don't think the shows so far had been really well animated. I think it's got like a Rocky style to it, like the way that the characters are drawn and the crazy camera angles and the poses and stuff. It's got style, but I don't think technically the animation was good. Now the animation is technically good. Like, it's clear the animation is just better. And some of these better.
And some of these crazy like shot transitions they whip out, like Jotaro sitting down and getting into the vehicle.
Oh, today on this episode, like when Josuke's like, "Oh, we need to escape this. We need to escape this hallway," punches the wall, and Josuke says, "Good." Jotaro says, "Good grief," and then you see the wall heal up, and then on the other side, just little transitions like that. I also loved him like running down the banister. And it's not just all that. Like they put these tiny little details in there, which I didn't notice on the first go around when the anime was first airing. But the two gloves on the side, and then they cut to the shot later, and there's just one glove on the side. So it's just this little setups that I just love about this anime.
And little things, it's just like, and the characters just seem more consistently on model. The line work is much thinner and looks more detailed. It just looks better. I'm much more enjoying the animation of this part so far because it just looks better.
Anyway, Angelo kills Josuke's granddad, and he's very mad.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of funny that it's like, oh, the narrator's back, and he's giving a obituary. It's like, oh. But yeah, I mean, it's actually. I'm glad they kept the Jotaro's speech about Josuke's powers mostly intact, because always felt that like that was one of my favorite parts about this episode. Just like out of all the stands, like most of them are created to like kill, maim, destroy. His power is healing, which is fantastic. Which is fantastic, but it they had to set. I mean, he has to have limits, and this episode both kind of shows how Josuke's powers are crazy strong and how they're limited. He can't heal himself, and of course, he can't bring back the dead.
Oh yeah, I love the part in the first part where he's just like, "Gotta go, Jotaro. I gotta punch a hole right through my mom."
That's fantastic. I mean, this is a great, and that's why I wanted to make. This is primarily the reason I wanted to be on this episode. Just I love how this showcases all Josuke's powers. It's like, hey mom, can I have some coffee, bacon, and eggs, and punch? And I'm gonna keep on, and I think I'll have maybe a little bit of milk there.
Am I supposed to read anything into the sparkles that were coming off of his grandfather, or is that just supposed to be
his soul?
Just his soul leaving? Okay.
He is basically that. I mean, he can heal the damage done, but he was already dead. He can't bring him back to life.
I like too that like now his Josuke's like attire and his costume actually kind of makes a little more sense because like he's got like the peace symbol in the heart and everything. It ties into his stand.
Also, Jotaro just tells him like, "Sorry, Josuke, there's no stand that can bring back the dead," and it's like, "Shut the fuck up, Jotaro."
You did that last week.
There's no stand that can bring back the dead. Iraqi's not that crazy just yet.
Somebody would argue and say there is no stand that can bring back the dead. Dio's blood can.
There you go.
Anyway, it still rings a bit hollow. You just brought back to life a dude who was dead for like an hour.
Right.
He was just lying there in the street.
Not just that, like the same effect happened where his soul left his body.
His soul left his body, tipped his cap to Jotaro, and flew off into the sky. And then, nope, he's good.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
I think of everything that I've seen in JoJo, that is by far the most ass pull of all.
Oh.
But it was amazing.
Oh, you just wait.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. And I'm assuming there's a greater... Well, anyway, so yeah, this fight is actually not that. It's an okay early fight, but then David Production makes it amazing with their production.
It's not really the fight. It's about like the smart ways that they're dealing with his power, like the way that like the Angelo guy actually was way smarter than I was expecting him to be. I thought he was going to be like just a dumb brute. But he actually is like, oh no, he's got the radiator in the one room, the dehumidifier, and it's raining outside. He's using the rain to his advantage, and lots of tricks like that.
Yeah, and you can even see Jotaro, even with the world, Jotaro is just struggling to kind of keep away with him, and that's the problem with like the water stand. You have to capture him, otherwise, you can't really punch him away. He's made of water, so he can't. It's kind of like Iggy.
And did Josuke say that his stand it doesn't work on himself, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. He had the scar from earlier. You can't heal himself.
Okay, yeah.
So it gives him obvious stakes, but it
won't actually matter.
Oh, I think
people will continue to just heal immediately from like horrific wounds, like they did in Part 3.
Everyone has in this whole show. From all time, people like they will gush 37 gallons of blood and then just stand up and be fine. So,
but I mean, when Josuke gets injured, at least in the midst of a battle, he's gonna stay injured, and I think for the most part, at least doesn't completely shrug off like a 2x4 to the side of his chest.
But no, like even in like Part 3, people stayed injured over the course of a battle, but it was like basically like an RPG. You gain health after you're at full health after the battle ends mechanic. Everyone was fine.
Yeah.
If you didn't die, you were fine.
This is fine. I'm fine.
Even if you died, you're fine.
Perfectly fine.
Unless your name is Kakyoin, Abdul, Iggy.
Yeah.
Polnareff has less of a foot now.
They should have used Dio blood on freaking Avdol. Why didn't they do that?
Hands?
There was literally nothing left.
Oh, that's right.
fans are back! Yay!
Where was Kakyoin? Was he in the meat dimension or whatever?
No, Kakyoin just had a gigantic hole through him, and there's really there's no blood you can pump through to fix that.
Okay.
Dio's blood's it basically was the sensu bean of the DBZ universe. It's like, didn't you get a hole punched through him? Nope, sensu bean.
Part 6 Johto was like, oh my god, he's missing both of his arms. He's screwed. Dio's blood. He's fine. He regrew his arms. Anyway, speaking of regrowing arms, even though that happened a few episodes ago, Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter episode 109, taking stock and taking action. In this episode, everyone's just kind of getting ready for shit to go down.
Yeah, this is basically a build-up episode because it's all... Unfortunately, I have to say, I felt like this episode was pretty meh because it's all just the pieces just being in place. That's it.
And I think this is Tagashi, if that's the Hunter x Hunter. I love him. I do love him as a writer, but he does have a terrible tendency, and he falls into it pretty hard in the Chimera arc around this part where he talks too much. And this is it. I mean, there's a point that I think we mentioned earlier. There's a point in the arc where it kind of drags, and we're really reaching it because there's a lot of talking about the setup and stuff, and I get kind of why he did it, but it's a lot of tell, and it should be show and don't tell, and he breaks that golden rule.
I think the other problem is that I had, at least, was that, like, I don't think I learned anything in this episode. I knew everything that they were explaining. It's like they were explaining everything again.
It's like, okay, because shit's about to go down, let's reset the game board one last time.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, don't forget, we're going to use these portals to get... Yeah, we know.
And not only that, I think the only important information is like, okay, this is the teams that are going to break down. Like, Splatoon guy, you're going to rescue Palm. Everyone, Gon and Killua are going.
The problem with the whole thing is simply that it's like there's a lot of moving pieces, and when this was coming out, it was like, every other, year we were getting a volume.
They had to recap it. I would say, though, we did learn, I forgot this, we did learn that Poof has the ability to, like, rain down, like...
Butterfree use sleep powder.
Yeah, basically. And it turns all of the people basically into zombies.
Right. You saw a bit more of Poof, and sort of the king is like, you must protect my cinnamon roll. Which does become important in, like, 3 episodes.
I was actually surprised that, I guess I shouldn't be, but I was surprised that Pito was just like, yes, sire, instead of, like, getting an inner monologue where she's like, what?
No, I don't want to.
I think Pito more or less is, like, I think every guard has kind of a different relationship when it comes to Kamugi. And I think Proof obviously sees it as a threat. The others kind of concur, but I don't think they care as much as Proof. Proof has, I think, more of that kind of connection with the king. Pitel's more concerned of, like, oh wow, there's some strong dudes out there. I really want to fight them.
Yep. I mean, it's also, like you said, the show don't tell thing, but sometimes it's one of those things where you can't always show mostly because it would be way too confusing if you did, and not everything, is worth taking the time to show,
Yeah, and I get like some narration, but it does at points drift into, it's like, okay, we've been over this. That's definitely a problem with the release schedule of the chapters, and I really hope they'd clean it up a little more. Like, but it's still very good. I'm glad it kind of didn't drift into the current chapters, because the current chapters, they introduced, like, literally dozens of characters. And I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, my head's hurting. The problem is it introduces dozens of characters, and all the powers are super fucking complicated.
The latest arc is just like, Words.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, it's a decent arc, but like if it was to be animated, I think it would probably be one of the biggest headaches to animate.
yeah, it probably would because I mean, right now we're still in sort of the build-up phase and shit hasn't gone down yet, and it's so much, okay, this is how this guy's power works, and that's how that guy's power works, and here's the power structure of, everyone involved, and oh, look, here's the Phantom Troop, and Hisoka's on the boat now, and everything's going to hell all at once.
It makes me glad that he only introduced like 3 royal guards and the king instead of like, here's 10 royal guards. It's like, oh god, there's so many powers.
Yeah, it's basically Dressrosa.
Yeah, except kind of better, so...
Well, Dressrosa is like was on a weekly schedule, but this was all content that's already been covered at a much better pace. But still, there's that kind of drag at points.
Well, I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. I meant like when you said that like there are like 3 guards instead of 10. Like that's the problem with Dressrosa. There's like 75 guards. You know what I mean? Like there's like 12 of his cabinet members that they all have to fight, instead of just like 4.
And then we have to go push a birdcage for 15 episodes.
Oh, God. I mean, I'm struggling to, besides the plan getting started, I'm struggling to figure out if there's really anything important that happened this episode.
Nove has shooketh himself white.
I mean, that's nice, but still,
Nove
is it really that important?
That man is so shooketh.
No, I mean, no, you're right. There's nothing like the only thing that happened was that the sorting is about to begin.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, but we're just at this point, since there isn't anything, we're just pointing out things we remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember much else. Again, one thing I did notice though, and this is silly, but like the little octopus guy, I noticed that when he holds his hands up, he's like missing the ends of his tentacles.
Yeah,
did you notice that?
They got snatched earlier by Killer. Remember?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I actually have no idea what this guy is going to contribute. I have no idea.
Just give it some time.
Like, emotional support octopus.
I guess
that should be the title of the freaking episode. Emotional support octopus.
Emotional X support X octopus. And Nove is so shooketh. He's just like, let me help. I can do the safest fucking thing. I can look at this building from 2 miles away.
I know. I mean, but
I can't do anything else.
In his credit, though, if he did die, they would be royally screwed. Excuse the pun.
No, I mean they'd be beyond fucked.
But yeah, I think it's kind of a shame because I think there was a lot of good build-up to this point. And I think they do a lot of great stuff with the adaptation of Hunter x Hunter. I just wish like the next stretch of episodes was done better. But
I have not been bored with a Hunter x Hunter episode ever, but I've still been waiting for the Chimera Ant arc to be like, oh, I guess this is where it gets real slow, and it hasn't happened yet.
I don't think it ever kind of reaches that point. But
it doesn't slow down too much, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I said it was meh, but that's only in comparison to the average Amazing Hunter x Hunter episode. Like, it's still fine. It's still better than 2 of the other shows on this block.
Once the invasion kicks in full gear, like you'll notice it's really. I mean, it is really. I really do enjoy the rest of it, and it has one of the probably. Well, sorry, I'm not even going to go into that, but.
So let's talk about a show that sucks.
All right.
Sorry, Raxus. Did you have anything else?
No, I just want to get to the episode I animated of Black Clover. Did you enjoy my MS Paint?
Let's see if we enjoyed Black Clover's MS Paint Black Clover episode. Black Clover episode. Sorry, I have to do this properly. Black Clover episode 36, 3 Eyes, animated by our very own Raxus in MS Paint.
Thank you. It took me like 2 minutes.
I'm impressed. You did a good job for 2 minutes.
It looked like anime.
Yep.
You're like seriously. You're a prodigy. You're an MS Paint god.
Thank you. I love just clicking on the characters and just dragging them across the screen. It was
beautiful.
It was hard work, but it was worth the paycheck.
I love just kind of doodling around, like having to think of 3 characters in 5 seconds, and then just doodling them, and here they are, and then it's like they're stronger than a knight captain, and it's like, haha, no, they're not.
And I mean, I had to use After Effects and everything. Like, I saw like it's like, how can I show a painting thing? Well, we could do hand drawn and make it look really pretty, or we can just have the ugliest fucking effect I can ever find for like 2 cents. So
So this episode continues this arc's trend of everything ends in kind of like, but wait, this guy shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I will say this. Again, I don't like Black Clover, but I am enjoying Black Clover more than I'm enjoying Naruto right now.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly because Yami is still around, and he basically keeps saying the things that the audience is saying. Like, when the stupid white-haired guy shows up, he goes, "Oh, how could I forget you with your stupid-looking hair?" And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been saying this whole time.
I think the good news is this. It's kind of a shame, and this kind of frustrates me about Black Clover that didn't have kind of a better adaptation, because once it reaches this point in the story, and I think somebody pointed out earlier, it's like Black Clover really shines when it's really kind of just an ensemble doing things as a group, because it's not just like one character doing the one trait. You just have a bunch of characters, and it's not. I'm not gonna say it's Shakespeare, far from any means, but at least it's a little bit more tolerable and fun to watch. And they pull off some cool set pieces. And Yami kind of stays in the into the heat of things consistently at this point. But I mean, it's like 30 episodes, 34 episodes in at this point, and it's a 51 episode series that's probably not going to get renewed.
And I'm also like talking about a couple of moments in an otherwise forgettable episode. Like, it's just, there were some moments where I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, like, oh, well, it's all right, But then, yeah, you're right. Now you've got these 3 new bad guys, one of which is like a beast guy. He has beast magic. And
this
then we've
dude's
got
design sucks.
Yeah, it is just the lazy design. And then you got like light guy number 2, who also has light powers, because that's original and different.
Dark powers because he's a copy guy.
At least he didn't have fucking ice power.
Really?
And here's pink-haired girl with the same face as all the other female characters in the show, with a tiny little thing that does things.
And she just goes, "I am talking like this at all times."
This guy, the author, the manga is incapable of making cool character designs.
Yep.
Incapable.
He really, I mean, look, I can't do what this guy does, but I can't draw. I can't be a mangaka, but I guess
but you can't judge him.
Yeah, as armchair watching of this show, I can at least say this much. I can say I don't know how this guy got this big. Like, there's nothing really that interesting about Black Clover or its characters. It's just
Black Clover manga. 1, you don't have to hear it. 2, it takes 5 seconds to read.
Yeah, it's basically the new Bleach. Like, I can just shotgun through it, and it's basically popcorn. So
3, most humans are generic garbage.
It just surprised me that this got a show. Like, we are getting a Promised Neverland. Okay, anyway, but there's other manga out there that are more deserving of an anime than this to me. I just surprised.
Where is my where's Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, motherfuckers?
Oh God, I would love that.
I hope Planet With is just that guy being like, okay, do I really want to do this?
You think we're going to get a Dr. Stone?
Oh,
it has to happen.
But it's just not at the point like My Hero Academia, Promised Neverland, all got their manga, all got their anime announced when they hit about 90 chapters.
Yeah,
and
I'm
Dr.
just saying,
Stone's about to hit that point.
Like Dr. Stone is exactly what I mean. It's like there's something that's doing something a little different. The style looks different. It's interesting. It's like everything that Black Clover is trying to do, but it's kind of failing at. That manga is doing it.
Black Clover is not even trying to do anything.
No, I think he's trying. I just don't think he's very good.
What is the interesting new concepts in Black Clover?
I'm not saying he's good at it. I'm just saying he's trying to do what he thinks works, but it's not enough. Like he just doesn't understand how to come up with an original idea. It's just it's like I'll take a little bit of Harry Potter and I'll mix that in with Bleach and then I'll mix it in a little Naruto and
I mean it's very generic shonen. I think like I said the appeal mostly lies in that it kind it's one of those things that you can just kind of shotgun through and not as long as it just don't think about it too hard.
And then these other captains show up and it's like, oh, they're also super lame. Like, here's Jack the Ripper. He has cutting magic.
But at the same point, like I sometimes wonder like how Naruto gets so big because almost every time I talk about Naruto, like the more I think about that anime, the more like I grow to hate it. And
was
like,
Naruto just Black Clover in the late 90s?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it had that. It had.
I think it had more likable characters though.
But
a few.
I mean, once it reaches the time skip, almost everyone kind of universally hates it or points out those huge flaws on it, which is one of the things I find just so perplexing that it became so huge with so many detractors.
Bleach
got canceled though. I mean, Naruto got a full run and a sequel. The sequel actually addresses a lot of the problems of the time skip.
Well,
I said this a couple episodes ago though. I think the reason Naruto continues is because people just fell in love with those characters, and so there's enough of a fan base to just carry it on that.
Those characters entered a bunch of people's lives at the exact right time.
Yeah.
A little earlier and a little later, and they would have bounced right off.
Yeah, and it's sort of not only that, but like before time skip Naruto is actually pretty good.
I agree.
And that's what I think that's what is just that lasting appeal, and it just lock people in for the rest of the series.
Right.
And it's like I want to see. It's like people are just writing on nostalgia for a show that's still airing.
It was also filling a void in America that One Piece and Hunter x Hunter were not because of certain things.
Yeah. It was also one of those things that, like, it filled the action show void, but I think the major problem with part 2 is how, sort of after the time skip, is how horribly reactive Naruto got instead of active. Like, he basically got turned into this reactionary character who constantly acted upon, and that's where, like, 90% of the issues with the series come from. Yeah, I mean, not even counting all, like, the bullshit, power stuff. Because in, like, the first half, he is very much active. He's searching things out. He's like, hey, I'm going to go do this now, or I want to go do this. And now it's very much like, oh, I have to go do this because that happened.
Or he's being told what to do.
I need to, I need to get another power up for the same freaking move I do.
Part 2 is basically Naruto being like, seeing a sign, this way to Sasuke. He follows that sign and he sees another sign. Now this way to Sasuke.
And that's what kind of frustrates me about Naruto. Like the power, it boils down to a handful of characters who have like the worst power sets. Like the Sharingan goes from doing like one thing to doing fucking everything.
By the way, C-Caller, just insert the Naruto opening in here somewhere because we started talking about Naruto.
Yeah. Okay.
I know, I was about to say, might as well fucking switch to the Naruto episode.
Anyway, okay, get back to the conversation. Go ahead.
And then Naruto learns like 3 moves. He learns the Rasengan, Shadow Clone, and a power up later on, and that's it. And it's frustrating because you see these you see One Piece, and they're constantly pulling new moves out of a freaking rubber. And
yeah, but does it look cool?
It looks amazing, and you have these very power sets, and
no, but does it look cool?
No, it doesn't.
No,
but it's charming.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk about this episode because I want to get done. So here's what I got. First of all, Toby has an eyeball wall.
Yep. And
that's dumb.
If you thought Donzo had a lot of fucking eyeballs,
I'm just kind of up to here with Naruto and eyeballs. You already know about that, so.
Let's see. Naruto apparently forces his friendships on others. He basically spends the whole episode telling Sasuke that he's going to be his friend when Sasuke's sitting there saying, "I'm going to murder women and children."
Yep.
High-level shinobi communicate their feelings by trading blows. You think he would have gotten the message by now?
Nope.
I think maybe what's happened. and then Toby takes him away, and Sasuke says, "Give me my brother's eyes," or whatever. Hopefully, those eyes will allow him to see the fact that he
is a dumbass.
Is a dumbass who's going to murder women and children.
Probably not
for no good reason. Yeah. That's all I got.
Haven't mentioned how much I freaking hate the second part of Naruto.
This is episode 216 of Naruto. It's called High Level Shinobi, but nobody cares.
Nobody fucking cares. We have 300 more fucking episodes of this shit. And it's gonna be filled with flashbacks about how important the first freaking episodes were. Thanks.
This show is obsessed with 2 arcs.
Yep.
Like, remember when the series was good? Yes.
No.
It's like they keep on flashing back to before the time skip. It's like, right.
You still care, right?
Nothing's happened past the time skip that's worth mentioning in their flashbacks. Actually, that's not true, but technically it kind of is because they don't really, because I guess everything after the time skip's just been them chasing him. So, whatever.
Yeah. I think that's everyone's kind of feelings when it comes to Naruto at this point, because I'm starting to think, like, past this point, I can only think of a handful of moments, and this includes the very final episodes where there's anything kind of interesting that happens. But really, I mean, you're in this for the long haul. All you can hope for is like good filler episodes, which I don't think there's many.
You know what would be great is if they moved this to the end of the block and had reruns happen before it, and then I would have an excuse not to watch.
If
they did that, we would actually just stop covering it.
That or Boruto just straight up replaces it, which I would have absolutely zero problems with.
I think DeMarco said recently that there's no intention of Shippuden leaving. So
until there is.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, yeah, it's a show that just is like running on fumes.
I mean, like I said, at this point, there's not really much. We might we should probably discuss discussing the show altogether, because
nope.
Okay.
It's been 200 episodes and we're doing this forever.
Say that now, and then we're gonna hit the infinite filler
infinite filler Yomi.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's 200 episodes later.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's pretty telling when you have a new anime completely, Naruto Shippuden, that's 500 episodes. 300 of those episodes is on the final fucking arc.
Good.
I mean, honestly,
the final arc is basically a bunch of different stuff that just blends together into this one huge fucking thing, but it's still ridiculous.
how was the manga like this too?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it dragged on forever.
Okay.
But the difference was that we didn't have all the filler in between, and it ended, and the anime just kept going.
And it was just like, I'm still making money over here.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Also, Boruto is not ready to go yet, so.
When is that?
Boruto is September 29th.
Oh, still like a month away. Okay.
Yeah,
have they even mentioned like the time slot for Boruto yet?
we're assuming it's just going to directly replace Pop Team.
Okay.
You know what? I know this is sacrilege, but I watched like a couple of more episodes of Boruto, so I think I've seen like the first 3 now. And the only reason I did it,
you must stick to the schedule. Anyway,
I will stick Gamagori. I'll stick to the schedule from now on. But I will say though that like I just wanted to see like because I've only ever seen the first episode. I wanted to see the next 2 and see what it was like.
Given the 3-episode rule.
Yeah, I stopped at 3 episodes, but because I didn't want to watch any more because it's coming to Toonami though. But I will say though that like I want to be clear to people who might I don't want to get their hopes up because the animation it's still Perot.
Yeah.
It's like good for Perot, but it's still kind of Perot quality. The first episode looks amazing, but
it's a show that has moments.
Yeah, it's episodes 2 and 3 looked pretty average, to be honest, animation-wise. So just want to temper some people out there who think Boruto is going to somehow look infinitely better than Shippuden. It will look better, but not like much better.
But animation aside, I think Boruto greatly benefits from the manga's a monthly, so it's like we'll cover the major arcs, but we're gonna do
more on the anime.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Super, like we can do our own thing and not have to worry too much about messing up canon too much.
Well, we like I've said before, Kishimoto's not writing it, so that's like +1 right there. But then also like it just at least at the beginning here, it's got much more like of a lighthearted, fun vibe to it. Again, it reminds me of like the original Naruto, where it was fun ninja stuff and not like brooding Sasuke stuff.
Like I said, they do a lot in Boruto to kind of course correct the mistakes they did in Shippuden. Like a lot of the characters are revisited and do more in the Boruto than they ever did in the in Shippuden. But I will get to the point to discussing Boruto, I guess, when that arrives.
Anyway, that's it for the block. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was a pretty good week, by the way. Again, excluding Black Clover and Shippuden, I think that pretty much all of the episodes were very good. Particularly the first 3 episodes of the block were excellent.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, Hunter x Hunter.
Well, I would say that MHA, Attack on Titan, and JoJo were excellent.
Oh, okay, yeah. Super was okay. You're right. It wasn't that great, but yes, there were at least 3, if not 4, really good episodes this week.
I can't wait till like we reach a point where it's just like hype episode after hype episode, because we're gonna probably be reaching those points soon, where it's gonna be back-to-back hype episodes for several anime.
Yeah, getting part 4 and the Chimera Ant fight stuff back to back.
Yeah, so good.
I feel really bad for like not just the end of this year, the end of next year too is just going to be like we might as well just kind of set up battle lines because those are going to be fights.
Welcome to the awards. 5 people enter, 2 leave.
Oh yes.
I will protect my precious cinnamon roll.
Anyway, thank you, Raxus.
I look forward to showing more of my talents in Black Clover in the future. I hope you guys enjoy it.
You keep following your dreams, little buddy.
You do you.
You're gonna be a great artist someday. He says, as if talking to a child who will never become a great artist. Thank you, C. Kohler.
No problem.
Thank you, B-dubs.
Later.
We'll see you guys next week for episode 119. Later.